Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Kim, Matt, Alonso. So we kind of started talking about season 2 of Stranger Things, and I think we maybe got a little bogged down in the minutia. So we're just gonna sort of look back at the season as a whole and talk about where we are story-wise and what worked for us and what didn't. I guess we should inevitably start with episode 7. Before I saw it, I heard a few people online saying, oh, it's so great, and then a lot of more people saying, oh, it's the worst thing ever. And I don't know that I think it's either of those things.
I thought it was awful.
Okay.
I remember you saying that. And
I did not like that episode. I thought it was a waste of time. It was the definition of a filler episode to me.
I think that, I mean, yes, I hear what you're saying. And I suspect that it's there to sort of plant the idea for future seasons that there's more going on in the world than just what's happening in the town.
Yeah.
And so this was sort of a way to kind of, it's almost like, in another series, this would be considered like it's the backdoor pilot for the other show.
Oh, I would not watch that
and I don't think there's going to be a whole other show about this. But I didn't think it was that terrible. I mean,
Callie and her stupid, annoying friends.
In and of itself, it didn't take me out of this world so much. I felt because there was the strong connection with 11 that had been established through the flashbacks and the mother and all this season, I was okay with it. It's not my favorite episode, but it didn't like give me hives.
I see where you're coming from. I feel like in the stuff that goes on in episode 7, I think there's some good development around 11 and her capabilities and kind of her feelings around stuff. But I don't know that that needed to be a standalone episode so much as that could have been cut up and put into the rest of the episodes, right?
Parallel edit with other things that are happening back in the...
I think that would have been easier. Maybe that would have been easier to swallow.
If it were just some scenes, I would have enjoyed that more. But I don't need to know about the misfits in the homage. I mean, I get it's an homage, but its charm really wore thin on me.
Yeah, it did feel a little like, is this supposed to be the X-Men? Am I supposed to get an X-Men vibe here? Like,
I hadn't thought about it that way, I don't know. I just thought it was sort of interesting to, because I don't know, this show is so sort of firmly 80s, and I think that it kind of allowed them to play around with sort of less suburban Spielbergian, kind of visuals and locations and stuff. I don't know.
Okay, so aside from episode 7,
yes.
How do we like the season as a whole?
I would probably give season 1 like a 10 and give this one an 8 or a 9.
Yeah, I think it's hard for any sequel to have that shock of the new, but I mean, I think they built upon what they already had and took a lot of the characters into interesting places and incorporated the new ones in a cool way. That I'm down. There are some, like I really was expecting Billy to be more than just an annoyance.
Yeah, Billy was a hard one to figure out because it was just like he's a jerk, and the reason he's a jerk isn't really all that.
Because he's got a mean stepdad.
No, that's his dad.
Oh, that's his dad.
Yeah.
That's his dad.
His dad's mean,
stepdad.
and he doesn't like having
gotcha.
a step family. But it's just like, I didn't know how to read him this whole time. At one point I thought, oh, he's attracted to Steve, but he doesn't understand it.
Right.
Or he doesn't accept it. And then another time I thought, maybe he's just like, how Stephen King likes to include like a human antagonist?
Right.
Is he that archetype?
That's true. Maybe that might be the thing, because I kept thinking, if we're spending this much time on this guy, surely he's got to like somehow be tied into something. But no, you're right. I hadn't thought about that. He could just be like the sort of random racist townie in It or whatever. You know?
And you're right. Like I felt, especially looking at a show like this through the eyes of somebody in 2017, you start thinking, is there some subtext to Billy that he's can't accept who he is? And then there's the scene with Mike's mom, right?
I mean, that was funny. But
that was a great scene, right? But it's like-
It was his Eddie Haskell moment.
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of stuff I liked in this. I thought that they did a good job of, especially the moments where, similar to the first show, the first season, there were a lot of moments where, they'll hit what's the worst thing that could happen right now? And they'd hit you with that.
Right.
And especially, I was unsure about where they were going with Sean Astin's character. And I liked that. And that's the third thing, look, if you're watching this, we're assuming you've watched the whole thing.
It's been a while.
Yeah, you've had plenty of time.
Look, there's not a lot of movies. There've been a couple of movies and now a TV show that have brought me to tears, and they always have Sean Astin.
Oh.
Rudy and the Lord of the Rings and this. Like
I really liked
straight
Bob.
guys and what they cry at.
I didn't cry for Bob, but I liked him a lot.
I may not have cried. It was definitely a oh no.
No, that was a no, not Bob.
Yeah.
But again, another character who I thought we were going to find out was sort of actually aligned with the lab or something, and was just sort of there to keep an eye on Will or whatever. It's like, nope, genuinely
Just
good guy.
a nice guy who works at Radio Shack.
Did we catch the joke, by the way, that his last name was Newbie?
No.
Yes.
Oh.
So like that's why they killed him.
Nice.
I shouldn't know this, but in The Sims, when I was a kid, there was a character named Bob Newby.
Well, that's probably
Maybe it's that?
Maybe that's what it's.
Very nice.
Yeah, no, Bob was great. I like Max, and I like Max and Lucas as a couple. I love the dance at the end. Like that is pure John Hughes. But I loved all the sort of character stuff that gets tied up there. Right. I love that
Steve's discussion with
Steve's my favorite character.
Steve blossomed in this one for sure.
He was the asshole last time, and he really turned it around and matured and grew to like the children and want to protect them. He's the best.
But I love
the hair tips.
The hair tips, exactly.
Forced puffs of the Farrah Fawcett
and
spray.
the Dustin Nancy dance at the end. I thought was really, was lovely.
The Steve Dustin dynamic was great
It's
as
so
he was giving him
cute.
advice and
along the way, like almost all of these kids, or at least several of them, do sort of break the code and lie to each other, and then have to like figure
Constantly.
out how to fix that. So I like that they took that seriously and there were stakes involved.
I really loved the Hopper and Eleven relationship. I liked his dorky dad dance in the beginning,
right,
and then where it ended up.
Yeah, the more I saw in that character, I'm getting more and more excited about him playing Hellboy. I think that's going to be really good casting. 11 continues to be great, and I really like the development with Winona Ryder's character.
Yeah,
and I like that by the end of it, you see her getting fierce and like she's in a way that she seemed more. Like she was smart, but there was definitely that fearfulness. This one, I felt like she'd shown, I don't necessarily know it's bravery, but she's fighting a lot harder than I think we maybe had seen previously. Like you want to see, you somewhat expect with Ryder sometimes, like she'll play that kind of small role and you get that sense where she really breaks out and she's really fighting for her kid this time.
Well, yeah, no, she's so fiercely protective, and to the point where like by the time we get to that sort of exorcism by heater scene at Hopper's house, she's like, yes, I know this is uncomfortable for you, but turn it up,
Yeah.
Well, she punches back, as Bob said, and she did because you remember I think the picture of her from last season was like a tableau of her with the phone going, right. Now she's become something greater.
So season 3?
Yeah.
You think we're gonna get an exciting season 3?
How could we not? I think the main problem they probably have to deal with is puberty.
Millie Bobby Brown is growing up very quickly.
All those kids are about to hit that phase where they're gonna like shoot up 8 inches and
or not, right? Some of them may not.
Right,
Oh.
but nonetheless, or they're gonna have beards or whatever. Like it's or actually no, I should say wispy mustaches.
Wispy mustaches. Yeah, no, I like this. Season 2 I thought was really great. It's continued set of homages. I think it continues to nail that tone. I thought that there were a lot of places that this was scarier than the first season.
Sure. Yeah.
I love the kind of aliens homage as they're all surrounded and
with the beep, 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 beep. Yeah.
But I really like this, and
I think this is a textbook example of how you can do something that is soaking in homage and still create a fun, original thing. So like you could walk into the show having seen none of these 80s things, not getting any of these 80s references, and you still got a cool drama and a cool action show to watch.
All right, well, hopefully we'll not have to wait too long for a Stranger Things season 3, and if we find some other good Netflix shows, we'll talk about those as well.
Oh, so, Punisher coming up.
Oh yeah, Punisher. Oh yeah, because this is the time to talk about somebody with lots of guns.